Welcome back to Way or No Way, where we're taking a look at the Double Dragon miniseries published by Marvel Comics. The comics themselves will take care of the recap this time, so take it away, issues number 3 and number 4.
It began when Stealth broke into the Dragon House headquarters to steal the dragon statue, source of the Double Dragon's powers. In the process, she killed the dragon's mentor Sensei.
It was a dragon ridiculous curb dragon stomp that served no dragon purpose. God, dragon.
After delivering her prize to the crime overlord Nightfall, she accepted a new assignment: kill Double Dragon. Disguised as Billy Lee, Stealth defeated and captured police officer Marion Steele. At Sensei's funeral, Stealth arranged for an attack on the Double Dragon by hundreds of gang members, all cloaked by Stealth's power of illusion to look like the brothers. Hours later, only 2 men remain, the real Double Dragon, but try to convince them of that. The two are in their outfits, despite the fact that they have to touch to transform, and they're thinking that the other's a fake, so they wouldn't touch each other to transform anyway, and if one of them's a fake, then how can they transform, and...
It just raises too many questions.
Right, moving on. They begin to beat the holy hell out of each other, Stealth wanting to pounce on the winner. Even she questions how they transformed, since it wasn't her that cast the illusion of the costumes. We go to Nightfall's hideout where... Something is wrong. The Dragon Force was becoming a part of me, but now it's flowing back into the statue. And I can't stop it!
My God! It's gone from blow to suck!
Meanwhile, back at the brouhaha, we see Billy twirling his vibe chucks and swinging them at Jimmy, trying to kill him. Nice moves! I see why you lasted so long!
And here's where we come to the biggest problem that I have with this sequence. Billy and Jimmy are not just twin brothers. They were taught martial arts by the same sensei, which means that the moves that they have would have the techniques that were instilled by him. There is actually an episode of Batman the Animated Series called Day of the Samurai, which establishes that fighting styles can be as distinguishable as fingerprints. Henceforth, there should be no reason why one doesn't think the other is the genuine article.
Not to mention, you both seem to have very little faith in each other's abilities, or maybe you overestimate your own, if you honestly believe that you can survive a 3-hour-long battle where the other could not. Again, same training, same techniques. None of the goons had expressed the ability to perfectly copy someone's moves. They aren't dealing with the Taskmaster here. Ugh. The dragons continue fighting and bantering for half the book until they knock each other out. We then shift focus to Marion's car, where 2 punks are trying to steal it. They look in the trunk and find kicks to the face, and Jesus! It looks like she broke the guy's spine! My next car is definitely going to need a bigger trunk.
Look at the size of that trunk. You could put 3 bodies in there.
With the garbage taken out, Marion flies off to save Billy and Jimmy. Back at the graveyard, the brothers come too. This is not finished, imposter. You have fought well, but it is over.
You just said it wasn't. Make up your mind.
Billy then proceeds to clean Jimmy's clock, knocking him right back out. Stealth then reveals to Billy that he just beat his brother into meat pudding. She then turns invisible and hands a tired and confused Billy his ass. Stealth kneels down to her prey and says, "Well, rest in pieces." She then sprouts, "Oh, you've gotta be kidding me!" What does she think she's gonna do, spread butter on their bagels? Those claws are pathetic! Marion arrives, blasting a hole in Stealth's hand. "Now get up, slowly. You got the gun, but why take the chance? Why shoot my hand? I was aiming at your head. I missed."
But I won't at this range.
Nope, she just holsters the gun, and that's the end of the scene. Did she arrest Stealth? She appears later in the story, but it isn't stated if Marion took her to prison and she escaped or anything. She just appears, which likely means that after Marion shot her hand, she pretty just went, "Bitch, get to steppin'." Marion looks after the boys while they recover at the Dragon House. Marion pieces together that Nightfall no longer has control of the Dragon Force, but the brothers inform her that neither do they. Nightfall laments that the Dragon Force is no longer his and finds that the statue is now moving. Swatting him aside, the dragon statue is now alive and flying free in the city. The last page of issue 3 shows a splash page of the dragon flying into the night sky. There's a truism about power. Not coincidentally, it was one of Sensei's first lessons to the brothers.
Sit in the corner and spam the attack button. Works every time.
Power must be controlled, or it will destroy him who wields it. Double Dragon no longer controls this power.
Now it must file a proper writ and apply for its kaiju license, because, as we all know, giant monsters can't just go around smashing random cities and making property values plummet faster than Jack and Jill. There's a bureaucracy.
Love is in the air tonight. Evil is in the air tonight. Justice is in the air tonight.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
A young couple is accosted by a group of thugs that I'm going to call the Red Shirts. They grab the girl and the guy tries to give them his money. We don't do this for money, we do this for fun.
Well, let me be clear. That's not to say that we're not going to take your money. That just means that it's not the primary reason as to why we're going to kill you and then make your girlfriend watch while we have our way with her.
All of a sudden, the dragon from last issue swoops in, scattering the gang members. Justice is on the wing tonight. Justice without mercy. After cutting one goon down, another drives a knife into its tail and shouts, "Die!" Which is only effective in getting him sliced up like a Thanksgiving turkey. After the giant dragon basically murders the group, the young couple cower in fear of it. The dragon flies away in search of other criminals to slaughter. We then cut over to an apartment building where a middle-aged man meditates. He tries to relax but is suddenly hit with a flashback. The man knows about the Dragon Force and also knows the Dragon Force is now running around free with nothing to channel it. My desires are unimportant. The dragon must be stopped.
It is my most sacred of duties to try and end this monster's reign of... What time is it?
It's 4 o'clock, sir.
4 o'clock! It's time for Maury!
Sir, what about that sacred duty you're supposed to uphold?
Yeah, I'll get to that.
You are not the
Marion tells the brothers that the dragon is hitting the areas in town with the highest crime rates. Without questioning how a dragon would know such a thing, Jimmy feels that maybe it's best that thousands of criminals will be dragon chow. We were clearly unworthy of the power. Speak for yourself, Jimmy. I do, Billy. Without my interference, the dragon can battle evil without my failings.
What failings are you talking about, dude? That your sensei was killed on a mission? That you and your brother were forced to fight hundreds of goons? That you were also tricked into fighting your brother, which you lost? I mean, okay, first of all, 1, you couldn't have known it was a distraction until it was too late. 2, you were surrounded by hundreds of enemies and fighting was the only option. And 3, just because you lost a fight doesn't mean that you're not worthy of power. Even the greatest superheroes of all time have lost a few.
We all have permission to make mistakes. It's called learning.
Marion reminds the boys that the dragon is without their conscience to guide it. She's worried that it might go from killing criminals to killing innocent civilians. So Marion flies them back to their house and they head for the roof. Why she didn't just land on the roof if the car can frickin' fly is anyone's guess. Then the boys show off their plane. A plane?
You guys had a plane and you couldn't use that to get to Nightfall's castle to save Marion? Really? Really? Was fuel for that thing that expensive?
Marion and the twins, boy does that sound suggestive, hop into the dragon's wing as Jimmy calls it, and they go off dragon hunting. But how will they find the dragon? Billy suggests they follow the path of destruction. Of course they could end up going in the direction it just came from, judging solely by the debris. You could also see the citizens pointing and screaming, "Holy shit, it's a dragon! A fucking dragon! Do you not see the big fucking dragon tearing its way through the town?" They deduce that the dragon is on its way to the penitentiary to slaughter all the criminals inside. It looks like it's time to kick some dragon tail.
Dragon tales, it's almost time for dragon tales.
No, not that kind. The guys tell her to fly the plane while they drop down to engage the dragon in hand-to-hand combat with only martial arts weaponry at their disposal. I'm not kidding. They try to hit it with bow staves and stab it with katanas. How does this work out? It doesn't. The police open fire and all of this only pisses the dragon off. With one hit, it manages to take out both the double dragon and the cops. Then it tries to leave where Marion blasts it down with some napalm-imbued missiles.
I'm beginning to think that Marion's more of a badass than the double dragons.
The dragon falls, smoldering to the ground, but of course it isn't down for long as it kicks back up like a serial killer in the first movie of the franchise. What'll it take to stop it? A lot less than you've been using, but perhaps more than you've got. The twins turn around to find the older man from earlier. The name's Stan.
Something about this guy seems familiar, but I can't quite put my finger on it.
No time for this right now. You don't control power with power, true believers.
Still nothing.
You control power with spirit. While it sails over Billy's head, Jimmy holds his brother's hand and says they need to concentrate.
I've got to concentrate. I've got to concentrate.
The boys manage to drain the energy of the Dragon Force out of the dragon and into them, giving them back the powers of being really, really good at martial arts. The dragon explodes, once again giving credence to the notion that when the brothers hold hands, blows the up. Marion lands the plane and congratulates the guys on beating the dragon when they confront Stan on how he knows so much about the Dragon Force. "Easy, kid. Your mother taught me. She was the dragon warrior before your sensei got the gig." "You know our mother? We never did. She died in childbirth." "I know. I was married to her. I guess even you can figure out what that makes me."
Absolutely nothing!
I'm just kidding. He's their father. The story actually progresses some, but the plot holes still haven't been explained all that well. The art's decent, but overall, Billy and Jimmy Lee fighting an actual dragon. Really, guys? Tune in next time when I conclude this with our look at number 5 and number 6. See you then.
Annie wished on a dragon scale, and that's what started Dragon Tales. Around the room the dragons flew, but Annie and Max knew what to do. They climbed on the backs of the dragon friends. Now the adventures never end. Dragon Tales, it's almost time for Dragon Tales. Come along, take my hand, let's all go to Dragonland.